Welcome to Lesson 2 of the Living World online course. Before we begin, have a go at the recap questions from Lesson 1 and we will go through the answers very shortly. If you have not completed Lesson 1, look for the link in the video to complete first. So let's take a look at the answers. Question 1. An ecosystem is a community of plants and animals that live and interact within that physical environment. Question 2. A decomposer is an organism that breaks down non-living plant or animal matter that releases energy back into the ecosystem. And question 3. A tertiary consumer is the top predator in the ecosystem who eats both primary and secondary consumers. Today's lesson is all about food webs and food chains. To understand the role of these food webs and food chains and explain the factors that may affect them. So let's get started. So, what is a food chain? A food chain is a linear sequence describing how different animals eat each other. If we take a look at an example from the Epping Forest woodland, we will see the deciduous tree would get its energy from the sun. A caterpillar would eat the leaf of that tree. A small bird would eat the caterpillar, which in turn would be eaten by the sparrowhawk. Now, before we move any further, let's take a look and have a few questions to answer. So let's take a look at the answers. Question 1. The primary consumer is the caterpillar. Question 2. The top tertiary consumer is the sparrowhawk. Question 3. Lower tree numbers would lower also caterpillar numbers, which will in turn reduce small bird and sparrowhawk population numbers as well. So now we know what a food chain is. We're going to take a look at a more complex food web. A food web consists of all the food chains within a single ecosystem. Like the previous food chain, the deciduous forest is the producer, which gains its energy from the sun. As we see, the bottom layer of the food chain are the primary consumers. They gain their energy from eating the producers. The layer above this contain the secondary consumers. They eat the primary consumers. The top layer consists of the top tertiary consumers who eat the layer below them. Now, notice how parts of the food web interlink. You'll see the fox and the beetle are involved in more than one food chain. This is what makes it more complex than a food chain. Now, numerous GCSE past papers have often asked the students some questions based on scenarios that may affect the food chain or the food web. Pause the video and see if you can answer the following questions. Here are the answers. Well, if the whole of the Epping Forest was cut down, the food web would collapse as every level would be affected. Question 2. Less rabbits means more foxes compete for food, leading to food shortages for the fox population, which means decreasing numbers. Question 3. Less badgers would initially mean more voles and less tree leaves, but over time the vole numbers would eventually decrease due to higher competition. Now we understand how a food web works. We're going to take a look at how energy can also be lost through the food chain or the food web. Now, this is the food chain from earlier. You can also see that energy and biomass is lost as the food chain progresses. But why? Well, there are a number of reasons. Well, for starters, not all of the organism is eaten. Bones and/or flesh may be left. Secondly, energy is lost when animals excrete their waste. And finally, animals may also lose their energy through movement or perspiration. As they sweat, they release energy. To some questions. The first question involves some math skills. The question is, calculate the percentage loss in biomass between the primary consumer and the secondary consumer levels. Is it A, 2.5%, B, 97.5%, C, 25.2%, or D, 95.5%? To do this, we first have to divide the secondary consumer number, which is 300, by the primary consumer number, which is 12,000. This gives us a calculation of 0.025. We then multiply the 0.025 by 100, which gives us 2.5. Now the final and most important part is that we take the 2.5% away from the 100%, which gives us 97.5%. So the answer would be B, 97.5%. Now most people that get this wrong always forget the last part of this calculation. Question 3b. Give 2 reasons why the biomass changes between each level in the food chain. This is worth 2 marks. Don't forget to pause the video until you're ready to see the answers. Here are the possible answers to get both of these marks. Not all of the organism is eaten. Biomass is also lost through excretion or waste. Biomass is lost through heat. Biomass is lost through movement or perspiration. And biomass is finally lost through respirational processes. So, there you have it. Food chains and food webs. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and do not forget to check out lesson 3 on the nutrient cycles. Thank you for watching.